My name's John Spiker. I play bass for Tenacious D and some other folks, and right now we're here in Frankfurt getting ready to play a rock show. I was at Rami's studio, Rami of the Foo Fighters, at his studio on a session, and there were just a bunch of guitars hanging on the wall, and like you do when you're in a session, just kind of grabbing stuff off the wall, and what is this? And he had a guitar there that I remember sitting and playing and just kind of being blown away by just sort of the like fit and finish, and just, for a guitar that you've never heard of, for it to be that high quality is kind of sometimes a rare thing. Is a lot of times those like what feel like one-off guitars or something can sort of feel a little like they're made in a shed or something. And and it was just one of those things of like I had to sort of do some digging to figure out who the hell Nick Huber was. And then I think through the grapevine and our mutual friend Sean Cox, who is guitar tech for the Foo Fighters, we got in touch, and I kind of just started learning more about the company. And I think the first thing that I ever played wasn't a bass, actually. It was the Krautster that you brought by the studio. Yeah. And just the most insane guitar, like on so many levels, the most insane instrument.
We came to your studio in that September when we had that September trip to meet with.
That's right.
Zach Wild, and then we had another common friend with.
You had like that Krautster, like the 53 or whatever with the racing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I remember checking that one out for a while, and it's just it's not like it doesn't feel like it's like it's your version of a Les Paul or thing. It's its own its own special guitar, which I think is always like kind of cool. Especially I own a recording studio in Los Angeles and have a ton of guitars there, and it's always cool to have like the Strat and the SG and the things that you kind of need to have. But the stuff that actually ends up getting used a lot of times is the stuff that the guitar player didn't bring to the session. It's usually the guy brings an SG and a Strat. Yeah. But always being able to kind of grab for like the thing that's like, it's like semi-hollow, and it's got P90s, and it's like this kind of hybrid thing with the coil tap and just like everything that's going on with it. It's one of those fun thing to put in guitar players' hands, and it always seems to yield cool results. I think it's like a chameleon of a guitar, in that I've used it on records where we were doing like super pop stuff, and then I've used it on records where it was like we need the humbucker thing, tune it down, heavier kind of thing. Yes, I think it ends up getting reached for a lot because it can be sort of anything. Like it's just one of those guitars that can do a lot. Man, so like I'm a P-bass guy. The reason I
know more of these people.
the reason the reason like I think of like that it's a thing that I reach for more, that it's just I don't know, it's again, I've got hollow body basses, old K's, and like Hofners, things like that. But again, this is like one of those instruments that a lot of those basses have a very specific sound that is like a cool sort of muted, very round tonally thing that what I like about it is, and you've seen me do with it, is that like you can just play it like with a rock band, and it has like brightness, and it has the kind of like edge where you can play with a pick, and it's not the thumpy cool thing. It's like got this big open awesome. It's got the like weight and the low end while still having the articulation that a P bass has that I love. So it's sort of like, I feel like it does a lot of the similar tonal things while having sort of that boxier, cool hollow body thing. I'm telling you, versatility is like the key to this whole thing, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to roll with, 14 basses. I mean, it sometimes feels ridiculous to have 2 basses, but like having something that can cover a lot of ground, which certainly like genre-wise with Tenacious D, we're in the set will be anywhere from, pretty like serious tuned down like metal to kind of like more classic rock stuff to like full on. There's a couple of like tunes where it's like a dance party in there, and it's like it's just sort of being able to kind of just keep one instrument to cover all the ground. It's something that I require in an instrument, because I'm just not a swap out 100 different basses in a single show kind of guy. So it definitely is a huge asset to have something that has a ton of versatility. That's the number one thing with the guitar, with the bass, is that the first thing you can tell when you pick it up is like, oh, there's something going on here. It's like every inch of the instrument was considered and like thought about. Yeah, when I'm holding it, it feels special, like it's an event. Like that's the biggest reason to seek out an instrument like this, because you're holding something, you're playing something by somebody that is not just a worker in a line. It's made by somebody who is like worried that if they don't do the thing they're doing right, it's going to mess up something down the line, and it's not going to be a quality instrument. So it's like,
what I embrace so much is that my team, like I have a team, we're all in total 10.
Yeah.
But how good they get.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're way better than I ever was.
I think as a musician, I take pride in what I do, in the like time and energy I've put into practicing and trying to get to a place that like sort of the instrument that you're playing feels like it deserves the same attention.
Yeah.
It's like a quality made instrument, something where like every step of the process, the woods that were chosen, like everything that goes into it, that's what adds up to something like you can take on the road, and it just holds up, and it like repetitive use night after night, abuse is just sort of like, hangs in there. It's like something that sort of lives with you. But yeah, it was just kind of, it spawned from grabbing a guitar off a wall that I had never heard of and kind of seeking out who the heck this guy was.